There's fantasy and there's imagination. Fantasy is out-of-control imagination, where it's when you're daydreaming or you just have weird thoughts in your head that you can't quite get a hold of. That's fantasy. Imagination is very useful because that is what creates your life. Your imagination is what creates your life. What I'd like to recommend is getting in the habit of imagining ideal circumstances rather than thinking you're going to go about your life and things are going to happen and you're going to have to deal with them. Take some time to see your life the way you want it to be. What you have right now is what you have seen your life to be on an unconscious, automatic level. That's it. There's nothing special, no karma, no fate. Well, I guess you could call it karma, but it's only uncontrolled imagination that's created it. I'd like to encourage you to take control of your karma by learning to see different things for you, if you need to see something different. And in regards to waking up, in regards to spiritual growth, spiritual progress, rather than seeing yourself as a seeker who needs to figure it out, start seeing yourself as someone who does have it figured out. Even if that feels weird, even if you think there's no way that you can do that, get that out of your head. Start thinking in the way that you are taking the right steps to figure it out, and see that as the end result in the future. Because when you do that, you will find that you start making different choices so that you will wake up more quickly and more naturally. On a mundane level, if you need health, if you need healing, if you need more money, if you need anything at all, better relationships, rather than praying and begging God or the divine to give this to you, see it as within your awareness right now. There's a great book called The Cosmic Power Within. I think that's what it's called, by a fellow named Dr. Joseph Murphy. And he was way back in the 1900s. Guess it wasn't that far ago. But his whole idea was the imagination directs this cosmic power that you have within you. And this force, this soul, this power, this energy within you is also the force and the power and the soul of God. And some people think that they should just let God's will be done and that's it. And that can be helpful to a degree if you're overly willful, it's surrendering. However, what they often forget is that this will that we have is also God's gift. So just like in an army, if you have the general, and the general tells his, the people under him, go and take over this country or whatever it might be. That's the general's will. But the people underneath of him, the commanders underneath of him, need to have their own will to achieve that. They can't just sit there and say, all right, well, the general's will is going to work through me and this country is going to be overthrown. They say, all right, this is what the general wants. So what do I need to do that? They figure it out, they put their will into action, and they accomplish it. So rather than completely giving up your will to God, totally and unreservedly, what I'd recommend doing is tuning into God and saying, what is your will? And then help empower me to achieve these things which need to be done. Because God will come through and empower you in that way, but you still need to act. You still need to do, to accomplish what God wants within this world, what the divine wants within this world. So, God's will, you have your will, you need to use your will. And part of that will is learning to use your imagination, your creative imagination. Now, one of the techniques that work really well, aside from trying to force things to occur. So they think that they have to visualize and hold in their mind constantly and just really plow through to make something happen. All you need to do, I believe Maharishi from the TM movement mentioned this, you need to have a desireless desire. What does that mean? That is a paradox that confounds a lot of people. A desireless desire is simply, you know what you want, you see it in your mind's eye, and you, without attachment, let it float out through consciousness. It doesn't mean that you sit there and you just, I really want this to happen, please make this happen. You don't beg, you don't attach a feeling of lack around it. You accept that it's true, you trust that the divine will bring it into your life, and then it will happen. Because there isn't this striving, there isn't this struggle which will block the achievement. So on your spiritual practice, when you're meditating, when you're practicing the techniques, sit calm and relaxed and see, all right, if I was in an enlightened superconscious state right now, it would probably be like this. And just imagine what you think it would be like. And then say, I'm ready to experience that. Feel that and float it out into your awareness. And the way I do that is I imagine that that there are like sound waves coming off of me and out of me and just permeating the consciousness. And I let it go, and then I just forget about it. And I bring my awareness, and I stay still, and I wait. It's just like ordering pizza. You have to have the right. You have to have the right factors in order to get what you want. What do you need first? You need to have the right phone number to call to order your pizza. All right. So that's sitting down to meditate. That's praying. That's knowing what you want. You dial the number. You order it. Now, later on, of course, you need the money to pay for it. But in the meantime, when you're waiting for this to arrive, are you calling the pizza place every 2 minutes and saying, is it coming? Is it coming? Is it coming? No, because who knows what's going to end up in your pizza if you do that. All right. So what you do is you call and you order it, and you set the phone down and you wait. You don't need to stress out about it. You don't need to be anxious about it, because more than likely it's coming. I don't think I've ever had a pizza not come, so it always comes. Now, after you make this and the pizza shows up, what do you need to do then? You have to pay for it. You have to make sure that you have the ability to procure this within your life. So that portion of this equation is you're praying, you're asking, you're waiting. Now, when the opportunities arise, what is the paying aspect? It is doing what needs to be done to make it happen. You can sit in your chair and you can pray for God to come. You can pray to experience peace of mind, enlightenment, clarity of consciousness. But if you don't sit to meditate, if you don't practice pranayama, if you don't do your best to live a good, wholesome life, it's just going to be something that you want, something that's floating around in your head. It's not going to bring it into reality. So you have to make sure that you're willing to make the changes. You're willing to do what's called for to experience this change within yourself.